In just a few hours from now, critical talks will take place at the White House to decide the future of the Ukraine war. But US President Donald Trump has issued a blunt ultimatum to Ukraine: surrender and end the war. That's his message to Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky before the talks take place today. Drop NATO ambitions, abandon Crimea, and peace with Russia could come almost immediately. Those are his conditions to end the war in Ukraine. And it has already rattled Ukraine's allies. European leaders have flown into Washington to ensure that Ukraine is not forced into some sort of a settlement on Russia's terms, as is evident that Trump is once again shaking up the terms and conditions for the path to peace in Ukraine. Now, you see, the conditions that Trump has laid out mirrors those demanded by the Russian President Vladimir Putin. And they come after the two leaders, that's Trump and Putin, held a meet at a military base in Alaska on Friday. Putin has also insisted that Ukraine must surrender Donetsk, which is its most valuable region. So the question is Zelensky being forced to pay the price for defeat? As of now, it looks like it. Zelensky will first meet Trump in the Oval Office and then the two leaders. And then 2 hours later, both the leaders will host a rare gathering of leaders from Europe, the European Union and NATO. Remember, the last time Zelensky walked into the Oval Office in February, Trump and the Vice President, J.D. Vance, publicly rebuked him in front of global media, berating him for not being in a good position as far as the war goes. European leaders fear a repeat today. French President Emmanuel Macron has already warned that there's only one state that proposes a peace that would be a capitulation: Russia. Zelensky arrived in Washington late Sunday night, cautioned that Russia should not be rewarded for the war. And as these high-stakes talks take place, the reality of war has once again hit Ukraine's cities. A Russian drone strike on an apartment block in Kharkiv killed at least 7 people, including children. This happened early Monday. 18 others were reportedly wounded. Footage on your screens right now shows rescuers pulling survivors from rubble as flames tore through the building. Well, Ukraine's foreign minister condemned the attack, saying that Russia continues to kill civilians. It must be stopped through transatlantic unity and pressure. Overnight, Russia launched 4 missiles and 140 drones across 6 Ukrainian regions. 88 were shot down, but strikes still hit Zaporizhia. Ukraine's army says Russia is redeploying troops for a new offensive there, hoping to seize more land before any ceasefire deal is struck. And let's not forget about Donetsk. This piece of Ukrainian land is now at the very heart of the contentious talks to end the war in Washington. In fact, Putin has written all of Donetsk region into the Russian constitution, making it very clear that he wants the entire region, especially this last piece of the valley, still under Ukrainian control. In fact, just today, Russia's defense ministry released footage showing soldiers raising Russian flags after capturing 2 settlements in Donetsk region. Well, the fate of Donetsk also depends on the talks that will take place in Washington in just a few hours from now. As for why Russia eyes Donetsk, we've been reporting it to you for the past few days as to why Donetsk is so important. It is a valley that guards the entrance to the heart of Ukraine. It is also a bastion currently protecting the whole of the front line. And should it fall, Russian troops would have a platform to encircle Ukrainian forces both to Kharkiv in the north and Zaporizhia in the south. The Ukrainians will lose not only fortifications and favorable land, they will also lose the urban logistics and the infrastructure that make it possible to sustain an army and a defense. According to reports, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen and NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte will all urge the US President Donald Trump not to cave to Putin's demands. The question is, will they succeed? Will the EU leaders succeed in convincing Trump? Already, Germany has quietly ruled out sending peacekeepers. Its army, overstretched in Lithuania, says it simply cannot. And in the US, Senator Lindsey Graham has urged Trump to threaten Russia with economic devastation if Moscow refuses a just peace. He said harsh tariffs on countries buying Russian oil should be a part of the strategy. As is evident, stakes could not be any higher for a conflict that has been going on for almost 3 years now and has become the deadliest war in Europe after World War II. Zelensky is under pressure from both Russia and the US. Trump says Ukraine must give up NATO and Crimea, the whole reason why Russia sent troops to Ukraine in the first place. And now Putin wants even more. The last piece of Donetsk region that remains under Ukrainian control. The question is, will the European leaders be able to help Ukraine? Will Europe keep Kyiv from being cornered into capitulation? Will this be the moment peace is forced on Ukraine, or the moment Western unity holds firm? We will be closely watching. And as Ukraine awaits the outcome of the Trump-Zelensky meet in Washington, D.C. in just a short while from now, between the proposals and counter-proposals, the question remains, will Ukraine step back from the red lines that Zelensky has previously drawn, or he will walk away from Putin's proposal? We spoke to the experts from around the world, listening to what they had to say and what is their expectations ahead of the high-stakes meeting.
No question that Zelensky does not want to give up any more land. Many, many tens of thousands of Ukrainians have died to protect those portions of Donbass that Putin is asking for. But if Zelensky has reason to believe that this war will end in a durable way, then it is possible that he may say, okay, I don't like this, but I'm going to let this land swap take place in the service of bringing the death and destruction to an end.
Regarding Donbass, there is no way for Russia to compromise, as Donbass has already been written into Russian constitution as one of the new Russian regions. So if President Zelensky disagree with this, then he will have to fight. But then another question comes up. How long will it take us to regain the territory? There's no way to stop the Russian offensive. Probably it's not that fast, but it is going on, and the situation has reached point of non-return.
First of all, we have to remember that all the territories, including Crimea, are constitutional territory of Ukraine, and we cannot change the constitution, and any president has no possibility to do that without support of the people. Ukrainians never will support this kind of decision because these territories have been taken by Moscow Federation by force, and that was the infringement of international law. If we take to the international context, if in any case this happens, then we will get a precedent for all the other countries when some aggressor countries can attack other territories and proclaim them to be theirs, infringing international law.
Well, to be honest, of course, it is Russia who started this war that is waging a war of aggression against Ukraine. So in that sense, it would not be accurate to say that Ukraine is the primary obstacle to peace. That said, the different actors, the different belligerents in this conflict are only going to have their very disparate positions brought closer together if the United States applies pressure on all of them. And that involves a series of different carrots and sticks that need to be used at the same time. And right now, you've got a situation where you had going into the Alaska meeting, as you just said, the European players and Ukraine who wanted a ceasefire first, before any discussion of the larger issues, and that is very much the opposite of what Russia's approach is. There are also differences of opinion in terms of whether or not Ukraine should have the right to enter NATO. So these positions will have to be bridged, and they can only be bridged through American leadership and mediation.